Hello, everyone. Hope
Hello.
you're all doing well. All right, let me share my screen with you. Okay. Perfect. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. We're really excited about this webinar. I have Matt with me here and Matt's cat, so you can see Kitty.
Frank is indeed here.
Yes. Thanks so much for joining us today. In case you weren't aware, we're going to be talking about Walmart today, successfully selling on Walmart through Listing Mirror. So we've gained a lot of insight about, how to use Listing Mirror best and what things are most helpful when you're getting set up with Listing Mirror. And so we thought, what better way to make sure this information is out to all of our clients and anyone who's looking at Listing Mirror than just to set up a webinar and to walk through these things. So we're really excited to walk through this today. Here's just a little, view into what we're going to be looking at specifically. So we're going to be looking at successfully setting up your Walmart integration. We'll work through a few different tidbits there. We're going to talk about navigating common speed bumps with Walmart. So if you've sold on Walmart for a while, you know that it's not always smooth sailing, but we do have a lot of really great ways to help you get things set up and to make sure that when you do run into things, we are able to kind of help you work through those. And then we're also going to talk about best practices for Walmart inventory handling. At the end, we'll have about 10 minutes of Q&A time. So that will really give us an opportunity to answer any questions that we don't already address in the slides. And then we'll just finish up with a few announcements and go from there. So just as a quick reminder, use the chat that you should see in the Demio website that you're on right now for any questions that come to mind. So this is both helpful for you interacting with other attendees. So please, feel free to answer each other's questions, to learn more about each other in the chat. And also, we will do our best to answer any questions that come in as we're talking about things. So and then if we don't get to it while we're talking, then we'll try to address it at the end in the Q&A section. So I am Erin, co-founder and COO of Listing Mirror, and then I have Matt with me here today, and he is our senior tech support specialist. So Listing Mirror is about 6 years old, and Matt has been with us for 4 of those years. So he's really grown with us, and he knows actually probably more about Walmart than I do. So when I was looking at doing this webinar, I was like, you know what, Matt, I think it would probably be better if you are there with me so that you can kind of walk through this stuff and draw attention to the most important things because he's the one who's working with our clients every day on this stuff. So we are going to get started with successfully setting up your Walmart integration. So our first point here is about product IDs and their importance. Matt, go ahead and take it from here.
Thanks, Erin. So product IDs. So Walmart requires that each SKU has a UPC, G10, ISBN, or an EAN. There are exceptions, but you have to contact Walmart and you got to get special permission to do so. Otherwise, like every listing for sure needs a product ID. So before creating your Walmart listings, we highly recommend that you download it's a product edit template. And you can add your product IDs there and have them in the product listing before creating your listings on Walmart. Because when Listing Mirror creates a listing on a market, we pull from the product listing data. So if you have your UPC, your G10, your ISBN in the product listing before creating, it's just going to cut down. It's going to save you a lot of headache in the future because you will need to add it eventually. Even if you don't add it initially, after you create it, the listing will hit an error and you'll have to add it for sure. And we can show you where that is in Listing Mirror.
Yep. So this is just like a little video. It'll keep running over and over. So you can watch this while I'm talking through this portion. But part of the setup process, if you're not using Listing Mirror right now, part of the setup process is when you add your integrations to Listing Mirror, we will do an import of your listings from all existing channels. And most of the time, the primary listing source is Amazon. So we're going to import from your Amazon catalog. But if you've never created these listings on Walmart, for instance, you won't be able to see UPC inside of Listing Mirror. That is something that you have to add. So when we do that import from your Amazon catalog, that is what creates your product catalog inside of Listing Mirror. So by adding your UPC to this page that you can see here, so you're just clicking on the title from the Manage Listings page, scroll down to the bottom, and that is where all of these fields will be located. So if you do it in the interface, this is where you will do it. Is you just are going to click on the title, scroll all the way down. But Matt also mentioned that you can use our templates to do this as well. If you're not familiar with our templates, I will, maybe when we're talking a little bit, I'll find a link to an article that talks about that, and I'll just post it in the chat so that everyone can grab that if they're wanting to look at it. But anything that we talk about today, any feature that we talk about, for the most part, you can do them in bulk in a spreadsheet, and you can also do them in the interface. All right, moving on to category mapping.
Yes, category mapping. So when Listing Mirror creates a new listing on the marketplace, the product listing data will have a category assigned to it. We base the product listing categories based on Amazon categories. So like we just basically use their ID numbers. They have a ton of categories. It's just kind of easier and it's a better starting place. So we try to map categories from Amazon to the various marketplaces. In this case, we're talking about Walmart. Listing Mirror will try to automatically map these categories for you, but it's hit and miss, and sometimes there's just not a good category mapping from Amazon to Walmart. Like sometimes it's just not always one-to-one. Sometimes it varies slightly. So what the category mapping does is allows you to. This is category X for the product listing. I want it to be category Y on Walmart, that kind of deal. And depending on how many categories you sell, like how wide of a variety of items you sell, you could have a few, you could have a couple dozen, you could have 100. But we definitely recommend going through and mapping your categories before creating a Walmart, because similar to the UPC issue, you are going to have to add the category. So you might as well map it first. So if you have like 20 SKUs that use the same category, instead of assigning the category to the created listing 20 different times, you just assign it once, and then every time you create a listing on Walmart for that category, it'll be automatically assigned for on Walmart. And we can show you where that is as well in Listing Mirror.
Yep. So, kind of, as you're watching through this, something to keep in mind is, like Matt said, you have to have a category on all of your listings in order to sell them on Walmart. So we do our best to map them for you in a way that we think makes sense. So a lot of times it's automated. A lot of times you could go to this page that we're showing you how to navigate to. When you get to that page, all of them are filled out and you just have the option to edit. But there are cases where they're not filled out. And so if it's not filled out and you go to create the listing, we cannot create it. So it's always a good idea to check these category mappings. First of all, make sure that they are how you want them. And then also make sure that they're all assigned. And one nice thing about Walmart too is they have very few categories. So it doesn't end up being too much work because it's very general, where Amazon is so specific. Really, on Walmart, you're choosing from like, I don't know, a couple dozen categories, maybe not even that. It's quite general.
Yeah.
And also another tidbit is you can also choose a default mapping so that anytime you don't assign a category, you can kind of see it in this picture. It automatically would assign it to whatever category you choose. So say you sell everything in the clothing category or something. You probably could choose a default category mapping, and that would work for a majority of your listings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to follow up on the Walmart categories are general. It's because they're general because Walmart picks the specific category that your listing goes to. Like we send Walmart clothing, and then they choose, okay, you're selling shoes, so this is gonna be clothing, shoes. So we send generic to Walmart, and Walmart's actually the one that designates the specific category that your listing falls into.
Right. And we don't
Not always
exactly know
obvious.
like if there's like a person doing this or if
Yeah,
it's like all automated, because
yeah.
sometimes products end up places that we don't anticipate.
Yep.
But the only options that we get from Walmart are these general options. And this will be the same across all API connections with the Walmart marketplace.
Yeah, most certainly.
All right. Yeah. So now we're moving on to speed bumps because these are things that we have seen over and over through working with Walmart. Matt is an expert in all things speed bump related, specifically, because we've dealt a lot with them. So here is one of the features that we have that is helpful when navigating listing on Walmart, the mismatched title report. So, Matt, what does this mean? And then how do people use it?
So if your SKU is showing in this report, that means the title in listing mirror does not match the title on the live Walmart marketplace page. There could be a couple different reasons for this. Typically, though, it means you do not own the UPC on Walmart. Walmart, similar to Amazon, you sell on an ASIN, you sell on a UPC. So you sell on a UPC, and then people add offers to that UPC. Walmart ownership can come down to the field, which is real crazy. So one seller could own the title, another seller could own the images, and another seller could own the description. It can get a little confusing to navigate for sure. There are a couple options for you to go if you hit this kind of route. If you have your SKU showing your mismatched title report, one would be to just use a different UPC for the listing. There are websites where you can go to buy generated UPCs, and you can use a brand new one, and it'll create a brand new listing on Walmart, and you'll own that UPC. So all the data that we send out will be exact, rather than you're hopping on an offer and trying to change someone else's data. The other option would be to provide Walmart with UPC documentation. I believe, if I recall, this is it's basically just taking a picture of the barcode on the item that you're trying to sell. Me like, hey, Walmart, this is the UPC for this item. Like, take a look. And they usually work it out for them. I've never gotten to those kind of details. At that point, we're kind of done with it. And we move the client to Walmart and have them work with Walmart directly. I've never had anyone come back and be like they didn't do it, so I like to think it works, but you never know.
Yeah. Right, right. And I guess this is probably, I don't know if we'll touch on it later, but just to be clear, like this is probably where we are, where it's a good time to just to talk about the fact that, sometimes it's something that we can fix internally, and it's something that we can like show you how to do differently or something like that. And sometimes it means just directing you to Walmart support and saying, here's what they need to know. These are the things that you should tell them. And we're happy to do that with you, because there are some capabilities that we don't have. Say, for instance, if you need data changed on Walmart.com, we can't always do that if we know that the data we're sending is correct and it's just not showing up. But we absolutely can help you with verbiage in talking to the Walmart support team, and making sure that the information that they are getting will be the most like succinct and useful in creating a ticket for the Walmart support team. So that is one of the advantages to using Listing Mirror, is just that you do have our expertise on your side, and we're happy to work through it with you and make sure that it's working well. Esther, I just saw your question about WFS, so we're going to get into that in a few minutes. So hopefully that answers your question. But if it doesn't, feel free to ask another question with more specifics. Okay, so let's move on to, this is just showing you, sorry about that. This is just showing you where that mismatched title report is. So the only thing that you're seeing here is you're going to choose from the reports dropdown, and you'll click on the mismatched title report, and that will bring you to this page on this specific account. Our demo account, but this will bring you to the page, and you can see if you have mismatched titles, then that is an indication to you that your listing is not the one that the listing that you're selling on is not the product that you're selling, or at least there's potential for that.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
It's
definitely.
not. It's meant to help you determine if you're selling on the right UPC or not.
Yeah, just like as a heads up, like, hey, the title in List Mirror is not matching the title of Walmart. Could be bad, could be not a big deal. Or
right, yeah, exactly. All right, pre-existing Walmart listings.
Yes. So we have two options. If you already, as you're signing up with Listing Mirror, you already have a Walmart account. You already have, a dozen, 100,000, couple SKUs existing already in your Walmart account. So how do we get those on Listing Mirror? We got two options for you. The first one is we could just run a simple import, which will bring the Walmart listings into Listing Mirror, but they will be uneditable, meaning you can't use Listing Mirror to adjust title, price, description, bullet points, nothing. The only thing we'd be able to send to Walmart in this case would be quantity. Some people, this works for them because that's all they need us for. Other people, they want to be able to use List Mirror to control their listing data. And it does get confusing because we don't have a way to differentiate between uneditable Walmart listings and editable Walmart listings. So you're kind of looking at all your Walmart listings at once, and you're like, well, I can edit these ones, but I can't edit these ones. It can be a little confusing to go. So that's usually why we recommend taking the B route, which is creating the listings in Walmart, and it's like as long as you use the same SKU and UPC and Listing Mirror as you have on Walmart Seller Center, when Listing Mirror goes to create the listing on Walmart, Walmart will be like, "Hey, we already have a SKU and UPC listing. Do you want to just connect to it?" And we'll just connect to it. We will overwrite the data. So, like if the title in Listing Mirror is A and your pre-existing Walmart title has B, we will change it from B to A, just as a fair warning. But going forward, Listing Mirror will be able to control the listing data for those Walmart listings like we would any other.
So this is assuming that you own the listing data in the first place. So
Right.
this is assuming that you could edit it in Walmart directly, and you're not just adding an offer to an existing listing. So this would work in the case where you're selling a white
Yep.
label product, or if you were the first seller of the product and you know that you have control over the product data, which you don't always know. Like Matt said, like
You
sometimes you
don't.
have control over one field and sometimes you have control over nothing. As time goes on and the Walmart catalog keeps getting bigger, there are less and less chances that you own the listing data, unless you're the owner of the product itself and selling something unique. The other thing that I wanted to question you on, actually, Matt, because I don't know, is do we also, if a listing is considered uneditable, can we also sync price to it or only quantity?
Only quantity, because price goes along with, like when we send listing data to Walmart, it is all combined together.
Yes.
Like inventory and listing data are separate, but price is
Okay.
included with that listing data, so we are unable to do that.
That's true, yeah, because I guess I do know that we have two feeds that
Yep.
go, one for listing data and one for inventory
Yeah.
data. Okay. All right. That's really good to know. So, in your onboarding process, if you're not currently using Listing Mirror, for instance, in your onboarding process, part of that onboarding process, part of the like automated part of onboarding is that your listings will be added to Listing Mirror. Your Walmart listings will be added to Listing Mirror if they are active listings on Walmart, in your Walmart Seller Center account. So when we import those listings, they will be in this uneditable state. If you want to convert them, what would the process be for that? Just
Oh
like
yes, yeah,
you
yeah,
said,
yeah. So we do have the way to convert an option. It's
okay,
just through the UI. We don't have a bulk method as far as I know, but it's basically just clicking a button. It's just like a little hyperlink, and
okay,
it says convert uneditable to editable. You just click that, and it will convert. And Listing Mirror will create the SKU and we'll push it out. But keep in mind, when we import a listing from Walmart, we don't get all the data. It's piecemeal. I can't remember exactly which fields are skipped, but it's not a full
hmm,
complete exactly what you have on Walmart. So when we push it back out to
yeah,
Walmart, converting it to editable, it could delete some data that you were not wanting there. So
yeah. So this is probably a good time to mention too, in a case like that, say you are a new Listing Mirror seller today or, last week or something, and your Walmart listings just came into Listing Mirror. What we always recommend is if you aren't 100% sure what the best course of action for your business is, get in touch with us because Matt, along with the rest of the crew that works on the support team, they are super duper helpful. And I'm not just saying that because they're my staff. They really know a lot about selling on Walmart, and best practices. So, for instance, for something like converting listings from an uneditable to editable and things like that, they would be able to help you understand what information you might need to add into Listing Mirror or just anything like that. If you're not 100% sure, just ask. We are solving a majority of our tickets, a majority of the questions that come into our team we resolve within 24 hours. So we are really quick on resolving tickets, and we are here to help you, because that we think is the most important part about using multi-channel software is good support. So
Truth.
All right, so let's move on to retired listings, another fun
hmm
topic.
Yeah. So technically speaking, it is impossible to delete a Walmart listing. Once that listing is in your Walmart account, it's never leaving. When you delete a Walmart listing through Listomere, we'll send a delete request out to Walmart, and what that translates to is retired. In Listomere or in Walmart Seller Center, it will be retired, where it will just live there forever. I think most default searches don't have that enabled, so for the most part, I know I've worked with many clients, and they were like, "The SKU doesn't exist in my account." Well, it does. It's retired because you do have to specifically find your retired listings. So like you're not, they'll never get in your way, but they just always will be there. It's just something to note. Not a huge deal. Some people hate it. Some people are just like, "Eh, it's in my account. It is what it is."
Yeah, right. Yeah. And this is just good to be mindful of because when you're using Listing Mirror, you will, the chances are where you will uncover this is when you are creating a what you think is a new listing, but then you get this notification that like, oh, you've already
Yeah.
used this SKU
Yep.
or something like that, and you're like, I haven't, or I deleted that listing.
Yeah.
Well, in actuality, it's just retired, and then there's a little bit of a
Yep.
process for figuring that out and making sure that we're connecting to it properly. Again, this is a great thing to work through with the support team because it can be so nuanced in terms of like what you should be doing in your specific case. So it's always a good idea to get in touch with our team in that way. All right, so we are moving on to best practices for Walmart inventory handling. And Esther, this is where we're going to talk about WFS.
Oh yes. So for WFS, you would create the listing using Listomere like normal. Nothing different about that. But then in Seller Center, you convert it to the WFS. And at this time, we're not doing anything with WFS quantity. I think that's because Walmart isn't doing anything with it. They haven't gone the MCF route. They're like, nah, only filling Walmart orders. So similar to how Amazon FBA SKUs, we don't really mess with those. We don't really mess with that WFS SKUs as well. But if you do run out of WFS inventory, Walmart will default to the next inventory source, which would be Listomere syncing out. So you could have like your SKU have 15 or so WFS quantity, and then have Listomere sync in like 10 generic quantity that you have in your own warehouse that you ship yourself. So the 15 will be used first, and once the 15 runs out, Walmart should default to the 10 that Listomere is setting. So like there's a little bit of interaction there, but for the most part, WFS and Listomere don't have too much crossover.
Yeah, so you can be sending there's no conflict if you're sending
Right.
your listing data from Listing Mirror. There's no conflict for you to also have WFS, which is Walmart Fulfillment Services, as far as I
I
understand
think
it.
so. Yeah.
I think
That
so.
sounds that
So
sounds
it's
right.
basically, yes, it's basically FBA for Walmart. So it's just,
hmm
in case you're not familiar, it's just Walmart's capability of having things in their warehouse to ship out your Walmart orders. So again, there's no conflict with selling your WFS products from Listing Mirror. You just set up the product data inside of Listing Mirror, create the listing like normal, and then inside of your Walmart Seller Center account, you will see the options to to sell the inventory from your WFS quantity. And then, like Matt said, then Listing Mirror would just be the secondary fulfillment source. Then, in that
Yep.
case, and I've seen this in action working in different clients' accounts, and it seems to work very smoothly. But again, if you have questions, you can always touch base with us and ask specifically. I guess the biggest difference between your FBA quantity and Matt, you did mention this, the difference between your FBA quantity where it's Amazon inventory, but Listing Mirror can actually do something with it.
Yeah.
So that's why we display it in Listing Mirror because chances are you're using that quantity to fill orders on other channels. However, with the Walmart inventory, there's no need for us to interact with it, so that's why you cannot see it inside of Listing Mirror because there's nothing that we can do with it at this time. So that's how it's set up. All right, what about deliver?
Oh yeah, yeah. So as many of you know, to use FBA to fulfill your Walmart orders goes against their terms of service agreement. So as an alternative, we do have an integration with Deliver. That is a 3PL that will fulfill your orders, very similar to like that. Like they have warehouses set across the country. You send inventory into them, they count it, they keep track of it. They'll update us with that inventory, and when orders flow into Listing Mirror, we will mark them for Deliver to pick up, which they pick up, fulfill. Once they send out, they'll send the tracking to Listing Mirror, and then we will take that tracking and send it out to Walmart. It works basically the exact same way as FBA, but it's just through Deliver as well, which is a legitimate fulfiller of Walmart orders. Like you're not going to get dinged for
Mhm.
that, which is nice. And we
Yep.
have quite a number of clients using them right now.
Yes, yes, we do. And if you haven't heard about Deliver yet, chances are you will soon, because I know that they really are making the rounds, and they're trying to, be relevant for all different types of sellers. So if you're not already using Listing or Deliver, it's totally worth looking into as an alternative for shipping on some of these different services. And if you need contact information for Deliver, we can definitely get that for you. I will send a follow-up email with a little bit of details, and I'll definitely make sure that I include a link to get signed up for Deliver if you're not already. Okay, and then this last one here, blank
Mm-hmm.
box and block Amazon
Yep. So
logistics.
that said, about using FBA to fulfill Walmart orders, Listmer does have the ability to do so. Two different methods to go about it. One would be to use the block Amazon logistics. This is one that anyone can use when fulfilling or when fulfilling Walmart orders with FBA quantity. Um, it's a setting on the integration level for Walmart, and basically what it does, when Amazon ships their packages, they like do one of two methods. They'll use their own trucks, or they will use like FedEx or UPS or USPS. This black Amazon logistics tells Amazon, hey, don't ship this with your own stuff. Ship this using like UPS. Because when Amazon ships with their own trucks, it's a specific type of tracking number. Always starts with a TBA, and Walmart can recognize it. So if they get a TBA tracking number, they know you're fulfilling your orders with Amazon quantity. So what Black Amazon Logistics will do will prevent Amazon from doing that, and it'll just look like another generic tracking order to Walmart. That is or that's open to anyone. Anyone can just check that off, and it'll just work. The other option B is Amazon Blank Box. Amazon has a program. Is it still in beta? I don't know.
I
Maybe
think it
it might
is.
still be invite
Yeah.
only. I honestly don't know for sure. But basically, Amazon takes some of your inventory, separates it, and puts it in generic blank boxes, and it'll just show up to the client as a generic blank box. It won't have any Amazon logo, nothing. So when this integration setting is enabled, Listimer will tell Amazon, hey, use the blank box inventory for this order, and Amazon will just ship it in a generic box using just generic tracking number.
Mhm.
And like, I mean,
And I think
we have couple people using that. I could think of any. I haven't had too much interaction with this because I just assume it works perfectly. To be honest,
right, yeah. I
no
think I think
issues.
you're right. So, I mean, that is the information that we actually worked with Amazon on these two specific things. So, the block Amazon logistics and the blank box feature. Um, and what our understanding of this is, that you're doing these things kind of, at your own risk in terms of this is a little bit of trial and error for Amazon, and for Amazon. And so this is like a feature that's available to you. Listing Mirror has everything coded in really well. Um, okay, actually, I just saw that Lindy just added a
Oh,
note here that we can get any of our users into the Blank Box program.
huh,
So yes, if
dope.
you do need this contact, let us know.
Thanks, Lindy.
Thanks, Lindy, for yeah for that little
Should have
tidbit. That's
consulted her
helpful.
more on this.
I know, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, so
that's
it
great.
is a really great feature, and Amazon themselves, they would even tell you this. So the blank box program is a little bit less reliable, just in terms of they will. I think the number that I heard was like 90% or so. 90% chance that it will end up in a blank box, and 10% chance that it won't, even if you have blank box selected. So there's still some risk there. Amazon's shipping, at insane volume. And so I
True.
think that's probably just like, just the nature of things. But um, But yeah, okay, great. So Lindy also mentioned that she knows that it
Nice,
works.
cool,
So
cool, dope.
that's good to know. Yeah, and just so you understand too, this is something you'll enable these settings. Yeah, okay, right here.
Yes.
Um, you'll enable these settings inside of your listing mirror account, and then these are what communicate with Amazon with your Amazon Seller Central account. So you'll just add the settings in here or select them in here, and then from here, Listing Mirror will communicate with Amazon about um, selecting or doing the block Amazon logistics and the blank box feature. All right. So now we are to our Q&A time. We have one question. I'd love to get some more questions in here, just to know what kind of things you guys are running into that you would love help troubleshooting. Um, but we will start with Janki Patel. Your question is: do you help apply to sell on Walmart? So we do not help with the application process. If you're wanting to sell on Walmart, you do have to get that set up by yourself, but we do help, or we can help with the testing process. So there's like a certain part
Yep.
of your setup where you have to like send a test order. Is that right, Matt? I think that's what it is.
Yes, yeah, it's like you gotta create a test item, you have to create a test order. You might have to do one more thing, I can't remember. It's like a whole checklist thing.
Yeah. So we can definitely help with the checklist. And we also have for several clients, we've also, had the opportunity to work very closely with just making sure that, things are set up correctly in your Walmart account. So we're happy to answer questions, but you do have to get the approval first. Okay, a question from Adrian. I just noticed by looking at the category mapping, some of my Amazon listings seem to be in the wrong category from when I set them up. I want to change that. How can I see if this change goes through? Okay, so we probably need some clarification here to answer.
I think I can. So the
Yeah,
category
okay.
mapping page, it will just have all of your Amazon categories. Ones you've used before, like for like say we imported, today all of your Amazon listings in their current categories, and then say the next day you change some categories of your Amazon listings. Listomere would not know that you changed the category because once Amazon listings in Listomere, it's basically done talking back to Amazon. Like we don't reach back out to Amazon, but like, has anything changed? Like, nah, it's just done. So what you would do then is you would delete the Amazon listing in Listomere and let it re-import back into Listomere. It'll re-import back under the new category. Hmm. Would
I
it
think that's right.
though?
They just wouldn't
But
want it
see,
to be.
so when you're looking at the category mapping page, those categories are actually the categories of all your product listings, basically. The product listings are created from the Amazon listing data, so it's kind of just like your Amazon listing, but there's technically the product listing. So if you deleted and re-imported, it would probably just tie under the same SKU. You would want to change the category of the product listing. Um, I don't know if you wanted to show that, Aaron, via a screen share or
Yeah,
something,
I
or
was
I
just
can.
trying to bring
But you'd want to
up.
change the category of the product listing. So ignore what I said and basically just change the category of the product listing. Once you've done that and save it, go to the category mapping page and you'll see that new category existing for you to map.
Okay, I'm trying to bring over. Okay, can you see this?
Yes.
So we would go in here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So you click on the title of the product listing
Scroll
itself,
down.
scroll down, bam, and just
This is where the
choose
category
whatever,
is.
choose the category that, if it's changed or if it makes sense to be something else, just do whatever, save, and then check that category mapping page again. Should show it there.
Hopefully, Adrian, that
It,
answers
it will
your
not change the category
question.
on Amazon, Adrian. We are able to edit the listing data for most of our marketplaces. The only two we cannot are Amazon and Wish. We cannot edit that listing data, so once it's in Listing Mirror, the only thing we send out to Amazon are three fields: MF lead time, quantity, and price if you've enabled it. So if you want to change
Correct.
Amazon data, you'd want to do it directly in Amazon.
Yep. And then I guess another potential thing that you could do is if you haven't created the listing on, say, on any other marketplace. So, say you just have the listing on Amazon, you don't have your you haven't created listings on any other marketplace, you do have the option to just delete the product in Listing Mirror
Sure.
and let us re-import it. So that would be another option. But I also just want to make sure
Yeah, that
before we
would work.
move on, that you don't delete your listing from Amazon. So if you do this,
Yeah.
make sure that you have turned on there's a feature called deletes go to market. So this is in your Amazon settings. There's a feature or an option for your deletes to actually delete from Amazon or not. So just make sure that that's not selected before you delete a listing from Listing Mirror, or else we will take it out of your Amazon account. You'll be very sad.
Yeah. No, it would not
Okay.
be ideal.
So just to confirm from Bryce, to use Amazon FBA quantity to fulfill Walmart orders, you have to use either block Amazon Logistics or Amazon Linkbox. I'm glad that you're coming back to this because I wondered if this was a confusion.
I think it has to. It has. I think you
You
always have to do
have to use,
Amazon Logistics.
yes,
Always have to use that. If you're in the blank box inventory, then check that out as well for sure.
yes. And either one of these, if you select them and it's not something that you have set up with your Amazon account, it just won't work. So you
Yeah.
won't, nothing bad will happen if you select them and you don't, and they're not,
Right.
and you're not like part of the blank box program. Um, but yes, the block Amazon Logistics feature is the one that you want to use for Amazon to use a generic or yeah, I think that's what it's called, generic or standard carrier. Okay. A note from Lawrence that be careful, my account was suspended for a month for using FBA. So,
Yep. Yeah. You
words
gotta
are
be careful.
wise, good to know. It
Walmart will
is a
crack
possibility.
down.
Yes. And yes, yeah, I mean, you guys understand, like these things are changing all the time. And so this may not even be an option in 6 months. We don't know, but
Right.
we're capitalizing
Yep.
on it for now. We think it's a great feature and it has worked really well for lots of sellers.
Hmm.
Okay, so
Lawrence.
any way to create a sale?
Oh,
Oh,
you're no,
sorry, go ahead.
you're you're already taken away.
Okay. Lawrence asks, any way to create a sale on a Walmart listing from Listing Mirror? And the answer is
No.
sales you would set up in Walmart directly.
Directly.
So Listing Mirror would still communicate price. So say for instance you have price syncing from your Amazon listings through to your Walmart listings. Then you can set up a sale on Amazon, or I'm sorry, on Walmart directly, and then it would just read off the price from Listing Mirror, apply the sale price, and then that's what would show up. So all of your
Yep.
sales you would set up directly in Walmart. There should be no conflict there. It's just not something that we handle. Trent, all of my listings are on overstock. How difficult will it be to import those into Listing Mirror and then export to Walmart?
So we do have a way to import overstock listings into Listimer. It's a little different than the other marketplaces. You generate a Excel file and you give that to us, and then we upload it to our system. What would that look like? I mean, it's probably not too bad, to be honest. I mean, like overstock listing. I mean, they have. You might need to sign. I don't know how categories would get assigned to your product listings from an overstock import, because our imports.
I'm pretty sure it imports the category part would only work for an Amazon listing, but you likely could assign a
You could
category.
definitely use you can definitely assign category post import to your product listings.
Mhm.
I don't think the overstock import would create product listings with categories assigned to them, because our categories are based off Amazon ID, or Amazon ID numbers. Yeah, I don't. So you'd probably have to assign categories post import. But other than that, I mean, especially if the overstock listings have SKUs and we import them with SKUs, and the SKUs are added to the product listings automatically, and at least as long as it has, images, title. I'm not sure if overstock listings have bullet points.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
I think I could take a quick peek. But yeah, it wouldn't be ideal. I'll say that. It's not the ideal situation, but we could probably make it work.
Yeah, the other option, Trent, is if you happen to have your product data in a spreadsheet, you could also add products into Listing Mirror just from whatever spreadsheet data you have. Um, I think actually there's even an option, or maybe that's what you were referring to. There definitely is an option to import overstock listings from a spreadsheet. You can get them exported from your overstock account, and then we can import them into Listing Mirror. So again, that wouldn't help with the category part,
Right.
but it may be better for the listing data may be more complete. Is that the format you were thinking of, Matt? The spreadsheet import, or just the like auto import option?
The spreadsheet import as well.
Okay,
I don't
okay,
think the auto import works
okay.
for overstock. I think it has to be in
Yeah,
Excel.
I'm thinking that we don't have that option. It's even sometimes hard for us to keep track because we have so many integrations and things are changing really quickly.
Yep.
So, okay. So moving on, yeah, good conversation here just about FBA and using that option with Walmart. Okay, Esther, I want my WFS listings to be in sync with Listing Mirror. Is that an option? So if you're talking about the listing data being in sync with Listing Mirror, yes, that is an
That should
option.
be fine.
The the quantities, if you are wanting your quantities to be in sync with Listing Mirror,
I think the WFS always takes over. I don't think we can I don't think we can
yeah,
control inventory if it's WFS and has WFS quantity available. I think that will always be used
right.
first. Yeah,
Yes, I do think that's
pretty
correct.
sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of any other, if there's like a specific way that you're wanting them to sync that we're not thinking of, please bring that up. I would love to add more clarification there. But yeah, quantity would still be controlled by Walmart in that case. Crystal asks, can we add videos on a listing through Listing Mirror?
Walmart gets real finicky with HTML. They do allow some, but it's very basic. I don't know if they would allow a video on a listing. If Walmart allows a video on their listing, then you should be able to use Listener to do so as well. I don't think I've ever seen anyone do it though, so I,
Yeah,
I
that's
would
just what I
I
was
would
thinking.
probably
I
I'd
haven't
probably caution
experienced.
no. Walmart
Yeah,
gets real. They don't like HTML in the description unless it's super
yeah,
basic, like paragraph or bolding words or something like that.
yeah. So one thing to understand too is like Listing Mirror is connected to Walmart through their API. So our interaction with Walmart is going to be a little bit different than what you
Yep.
experience in app or in their Walmart Seller Center. This is to be expected. It's not as if Listing Mirror like doesn't have a feature that is available or something. It's just the difference between an API
Mm-hmm.
connection and an in-app
Yep.
connection. Just the same way as how we have APIs that are connected to, or we have people who build APIs to Listing Mirror, and they're just going to be limited because it's just different. So just be aware of that. So something that you can directly do in Walmart, you may not, the options will just be different in Listing Mirror potentially. But one thing I will say to keep in mind is what are you gaining from using software? Then how are those benefits worth it over what you're losing, which may be a video, but the flexibility that you're gaining with being able to create lots of listings and all of that, I think far outweighs video. And so just something to be aware of as you're making decisions for your business. Okay, do you know anyone that would be able to assist with the application to sell on Walmart? I will have to think on it. I don't. I've had contacts in the past, so I will touch base and I will see if we currently have a person that could help with that on the Walmart side. I'm just not 100% sure, but I will definitely get in touch with you. I have your contact information, so I'll just reach out directly and let you know. Can you put a video in Listing Mirror's image fields? I do not believe so. I don't think anything that
Nah.
is a video format would go through.
No, it would not. Yeah, it's just got to be images.
Yeah. Um, yeah, if you were to add one, it would have to be in the description field, and it would have to have the whatever HTML
Yep.
Walmart allows. All right, I'm not seeing any other questions come in. Matt, is there anything else that you can think of that, just through talking, you think would be valuable to let people
Hmm. Have some words. Have some patience,
in?
for sure. You if you have like 10,000 SKUs, you're not gonna get all 10,000 SKUs on Walmart created in a day. No way. That would be crazy impressive. It is gonna take time. Um, whether that's just like learning some of the shipping, I guess would be a good one to cover real
Oh,
quick.
yeah.
But yeah, yeah, it's yeah, patience is the best key, for sure. But just in general, to be honest, but especially for selling at Walmart, it's just going to take some time. Walmart can take up to 24 hours to process some changes from our end. So it's like you make a change, you got to wait almost a day. Usually it's like within a couple hours, but I mean, I've seen it take some time, up to 48 for
For sure.
creation. But yeah, anyway, so for like shipping, you do set shipping directly up on Walmart, similar to if you are an eBay seller and have business policies to decide shipping. Walmart's similar to that. You create shipping templates in Walmart, and then you can use Listing Mirror to assign shipping templates to your different listings. If you only have like one default shipping template, then it doesn't matter. Listing Mirror, when we create a new listing on Walmart, the listing will default to the default shipping. So if you only have the one, it doesn't matter. You don't have to use Listing Mirror to assign them differently. But if you have multiple shipping, because you have some really lightweight products and they're going to ship this quick, you have some heavier products they're going to ship a little slower, so you have different shipping profiles. You can use Listimer to assign those shipping templates to your listings. Otherwise, when you create a listing through Listimer for Walmart, it'll just use the default shipping. So I think that
Yeah,
is
and that's. I remember for a while the hot thing was the 2 day shipping.
yep,
So all of that
that 2 day
is
badge.
all of that you set up through Walmart directly, and then Listing Mirror just works with it.
Yeah.
So there's nothing that you have to do on the Listing Mirror side to make
Yeah,
that
and
work.
this is pretty new from Walmart. Within the last year, I think that they made this change
Yeah,
from version 3 to version 4. Because yeah, shipping used to be set up a little differently.
yeah,
This is more
right, right.
easier. Mm. You set up shipping options directly in Walmart, so like all your choices are very direct and like they will work. Before it was like you had to create a profile and like, maybe the option works for Walmart, maybe it doesn't, kind of deal.
Right,
I
right,
think
yeah.
this is probably a little friendlier.
Yes, I agree. I agree with that. Back to what you were saying, Matt, just about having patience with working with Walmart. So some of it is, having patience with just waiting until changes go through and things like that. Then the other part is through. It takes 24 hours for Walmart to even acknowledge that something happens, and then they come back and they give us an error and they tell us, nope, we can't. That won't work for whatever reason. And so it's just a good thing to keep in mind. Like we don't. Like we're here to help and we want to, help you be as successful as you can. Um, but we don't control the Walmart marketplace. And so
We do not.
we love working with clients on these things for sure. But it is, it's definitely helpful just to understand that we're on your side and we want to see these listings go through and we want you to be successful. But we don't know any more than you know a lot of times. And so we're just reliant on
Yeah.
whatever Art tells us. So, yeah. Okay. So no other questions came through. So that's great. I hope that means that the information that we gave you was helpful, and that the things that you've gleaned from talking through this with us and hearing about our experiences are things that you can take with you and then you can implement into your own Listing Mirror accounts. If you're not already using Listing Mirror, I'm just going to do a quick plug for myself. So I do a lot of software training. I also do like strategizing for your business. I can do kind of just thinking through maybe more higher level things that would impact how you use the software. And then I can also just give you direction on like maybe you have a question about something and you're not sure where to go. That's a great reason to get in touch with me. So my email address is here. You can get in touch with me anytime. You probably also get emails from me occasionally, and you can respond to those as well. So anything that is regarding training or setting up your account or anything like that, I'm a great resource for that, and I'm happy to help with anything that you can think of. We are here to make sure that you are successful, and we oftentimes can tell you about things in the software that you didn't even know existed. So if you're experiencing anything that isn't working well, or you want to do more with the software, I'm a great person to get in touch with. Also, we have a great technical support team, which, I mean, you've heard from Matt. You understand now the depth at which Matt understands not only Listing Mirror, but Walmart, eBay, Etsy, Reverb, all of the different integrations that we have. We have a pretty good understanding of how they integrate with Listing Mirror. We often have contacts. I would say Walmart, we have a little bit less personal connection. But we often have personal connections with these marketplaces and people that we can reach out to and everything. So we're happy to let you in on that knowledge. Um, as a reminder, or maybe this is new for some of you, we do have a whole fleshed out knowledge base that we're constantly adding to. So our technical support resources are our knowledge base, submitting technical questions, and reporting bugs, anything that you see that you're like, hey, this should not be this way, submitting that through a ticket, and then also creating feature requests. So there's something that you are wanting to do in Listing, but you're not seeing a way to do it. It's always great to ask and say, does this exist? And if it doesn't, then we will create the feature request for you, and it does legitimately get added to our great repository of feature requests, and we are always adding new things. We have like, I don't, hundreds, at least hundreds,
Oh,
maybe 1,000 or more
yeah.
of these types of requests. So,
Hmm.
um, but we are here to serve Amazon sellers, and we want to make sure that you're successful. So, the best way to get in touch with us is to go to support.listingmirror.com, and that is where you can see and create requests and all of that kind of stuff. So, thank you guys so much for joining us today. We're really happy to be able to share these things with you. If you haven't seen it already, I did add this slide deck in a handout so that you have a PDF version of these slides in case
Nice.
you do want to use it for your own resources. And you'll also get a follow-up email with a link to view this again. So if you have any team members that you want to share this with, you'll see that coming through your email as soon as the video is ready. And we look forward to seeing you at the next webinar. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great day.
Bye.